before they get married? How can they progress if they can't afford to get married? There's absolutely so many questions that we get asked on a daily basis that it's very hard to condense them all down and actually say particular questions that we're asked. But I mean, some of the comments that we get have been really, really encouraging. One youngster wrote to us when we first started the website, and she said, I just wanted to tell you how much it means to me that you have made this website. I'm only 15 and I live in a small town where my high school only has 100 people in total. Around here, celibacy makes you a freak, and even my friends think I'm crazy. Thank you so much for giving us a site where people can find other celibate people and not feel so alone.
How wonderful that it just by knowing that there are other people out there who are also choosing to live a celibate lifestyle, to abstain from sex, that they're not alone in that decision. They don't need to feel alienated, that there is a sense of support, wider support. That's wonderful. And I'm also interested, you mentioned some biblical reasons why people might choose to abstain from sex or to live a life of celibacy, but presumably there are a whole range of reasons, other personal reasons or medical reasons. Are you able to touch on some of those for the viewers?
Yeah, we have a lady that joined quite recently, and she's a married lady, a Christian, but she's abstaining simply because she has a multitude of medical conditions that came from one operation, and now it's graduated into lots and lots of operations, and it's just too painful for her to have sex, and her husband has stood by her 100%. And so her reasoning is totally different to, say, the youngster that's actually coming and saying, I want to remain chaste until marriage. Then, of course, we have people that are asexual, that have no sex drive whatsoever, and they can feel very alienated in society as well, because there's nobody out there that even really talks about asexuality or knows what it is. And then, of course, we've got people that are widows or widowers that are adapting to a life of celibacy. But one of the main things I'm actually finding is we've got a poll on the website that asks why celibacy is making a comeback. And 50% of the people have said they think that it's because sex isn't all that it's cracked up to be, and they're disappointed by it. So I think a lot of people that are coming to the website are people that have perhaps had sex and realised that, you know, they've made a mistake and they feel quite guilty about it, and they're coming to try and turn things around in a way and just be reassured that, you know, they've made a mistake, but it doesn't mean that that has to be a lifelong thing that they feel guilty about.
That's such a positive point to make, because presumably there would be people that have experienced regret because of sexual relationships, and that's really positive that people can come and actually make a new start in this kind of way, resolve to live differently if that's the path that they feel God is leading them in. That's really wonderful. Another really interesting term that I picked up on your website was celationship. Could you please define for us what this word means?
It was coined by myself, actually, and it came about because there's not really anything that you can say if you're actually dating somebody, but you're in a celibate relationship. A lot of people assume that when somebody's dating someone of the opposite sex that they're being intimate, but that's not always the case, and particularly not in the Christian community. So I coined this term really to describe a relationship that's non-sexual. It's like, you know, the first stages of a relationship where, you know, you're going to the cinema, you may be going out for a meal, but you're perhaps going back to different homes, and you're not sexual in any way at all, but you're actually dating. And so celationship is quite a nice word to tell people what you're doing or not doing, as it may be.
That's great. And also, could you please define for us the difference between celibacy and being abstinent?
Well, this is quite a contentious issue, because there's a lot of people in the Christian community that are very particular about what word you use. We've got chastity, we've got celibacy, and we've got abstinence. In the Christian community, most people prefer to use the word chastity, because that doesn't just cover sexual behaviour, but it covers modesty, the way you dress, the way you relate to others, the fact that you don't go out and tell the dirty jokes in the pub, and it's just a whole way of life, chastity. And then, of course, you've got celibacy and abstinence. Well, celibacy is more to do with, in the dictionary definition is a single person. But nowadays, of course, you can be single, but you can still be sleeping around, you can still have a promiscuous lifestyle. So celibacy has sort of adopted a new meaning, really, in the sense that you're single and you're celibate, rather than just abstinent.
Well, that's really helpful. Thank you, Denise. And we're actually now in our last minute, but before we come to a close today, I wonder if you would be able to offer some encouragement. There may be somebody who is watching who has decided to live a celibate lifestyle, and they may feel quite alone in that decision or alienated. Is there something that you could say to that person just to encourage them as we draw to a close?
I'd say that you are definitely not alone. There's many people out there that are just like you, whether you're male, whether you're female, whether you're 14, whether you're 84. You know, as a celibate, you are not alone. There's so many out there. And the fact that we don't speak about this has got to change, because we've got to let people know that, you know, there are people out there. There's a multitude of things you can do to get involved. One thing is you can visit the website, celibrate.org, and people can register on there. We're in the process of setting up local groups, and hopefully that will lead on to people being able to meet up physically for food and fellowship, and just, you know, realise that they're not leading this life alone.
Denise, thank you so much for coming on today and for being so willing to share about your own experiences and just to inform us about celibacy. It's
Thank
been
you very much.
Really helpful having you on the program today. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay with us today, and may God bless you.